everybody, and welcome to the GamerTalkz podcast for December. Now, this month is a little bit quiet. You have me, GeographicCactus, and that's it. I've been abandoned by my employees. They're all away doing other things. Dunk is working at the bar getting other people drunk, so it's nice of him to think of other people at this time of year. John has hurt his back building furniture, as you do. Andy's sick. And Nick is spending some well-earned family time before he drives home. So yeah, I'm on this month. We're just going to try and run through what we've got. December's slightly quieter because it's the end of the year. Most developers, publishers try to release the games before December, and then they kind of get them out for the Christmas rush and Black Friday and promotions and everything else. But we've still got a few that we're just going to run through coming out that might be of note. I'm just going to continue with what we normally do. So games I've been playing this month. I've been playing a lot because I've started doing videos for the Cactus Plays playlist on YouTube. Thank you for watching them, by the way, if you haven't been. I've been playing games on and off for that. I started playing a couple of new ones. So I started playing SnowRunner. I picked that up a few weeks ago. So that's a fun driving game. It does make you want to tear your hair out, but it's good fun. I also started playing Dungeons at Hinterberg on Xbox Game Pass. It's very good. I played the demo at the time, thought it was very good, and it is very good. So started playing that. Done a few dungeons. It kind of works like a dungeon crawler, but each dungeon is set like a separate area from the main game, if that makes sense. So the main game is like almost like an ARPG in a way. You know, you can walk out of the town, you can interact with folk and do side missions and so on. And then each dungeon is its own set area, so you basically step into a sort of time portal if you want, and then it takes you to the dungeon. And then you play through dungeons, so it's like a separate area. Complete that. The game has, I think I'm right in saying, 24 dungeons or something in total to do, so completing dungeons is like not just the game, but it's like the makeup of the area. So basically this fictional village attracts people called Slayers who come to complete all the dungeons, and it obviously create, you know, the village and the economy and all that stuff going around it. And then obviously it's got its own story and everything, so it's just very good. It's very well done, very nice artwork, very nice sound design and music. It's just very impressive. So I've been playing that. I've also downloaded a few new ones. I bought some new ones. I bought something called The Invincible, which is very good. The Invincible is actually based on a book, for those of you that don't know, a book of the same name by Stanislaw Lem. He's Polish author, I believe, from 1964 or something like that. I think it's been rewritten, but that's when it was originally done. And the game, from what I've heard, is very close to the book. It's not, you know, word for word, but it's very close. Basically, you play as a sort of stranded scientist / astronaut on a foreign planet. So what happens is your crew land in one shuttle and they go off and do their things, and then you land later on your own, and by the time you land, the other three have gone out and, well, something's happened to them, that's all I'll say. So you go into the game and you're on your own, and you've got to sort of wander around this planet solving puzzles and traversing cliffs and following your guide, your sensor and whatever, trying to find these people. Once you do that, you're meant to put them on a ship home, and then you've basically got to explore the rest of the planet yourself, looking for clues and answers and so on. It's just one of those lovely games that I love. Firstly, because it's quite gently paced, which I like. I can just do it at my own pace, and also because it doesn't have any combat, so I don't need to worry about being shot in the back or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of combat in games. They can do it right. You know, games like Hogwarts Legacy, the combat's brilliant, I love it. Other games, like shooter games, faster paced combat action, I'm not such a fan of those. So I'm kind of happy that it doesn't have and you come back like that. I also want another one called Crypt Custodian. If you haven't heard of that one, check it out, because it's, oh man, it's amazing. And basically what happens is you play as a cat, and the cat dies, and you basically go to, I think this is a depiction of heaven, I'm not entirely sure, and you get sentenced to basically the bad side of heaven. So not hell, but if you imagine heaven split in two, you've got the good side and the not so good side, and you're bad to the not so good side, and then you play through the game, and eventually you become like a janitor and you have to go around cleaning up. It's just a very cute little game. The music is amazing, partly because a lot of it's done on, you know, piano and traditional instruments by hand. Most of the game is made by hand as well. The character creation is just lovely, like cartoons, but still 3D sprites. The variation in enemies is fantastic. Some of the enemies, brilliant. You should check them out. The way they look, and then also the way they act, because they all kind of act in different proximities. They have different attacks. It's just very good. So that's what I've been doing. I do love Windy Games though. I also bought that Metal Slug Tactics, but I haven't played it yet. But I will be streaming that when I do. I will do a little stream of that. It's just a brilliant RTS game. Top-down, turn-based RTS, which are, you know, it's another type of genre of game that I really like. Just really looking forward to playing that, so I got that on release, not played it yet. And then the other one I got just the other day was Road 96, which, well, I played the demo back in the day. Of course, John's done a challenge, or Buster did a challenge a little while ago. I watched that as well. Road 96 is a really good game that I wanted to play for a while, just sit and play. It's another slow-paced game. It's one of those ones where each playthrough is a sort of a new experience, because a lot of the game, each playthrough, if you like, is created by the engine. You will encounter different characters, be able to make different decisions, things like that. And each playthrough is tied together because there is a common goal through the game. So basically, you're trying to get to the border, and that is possible in each playthrough, but you have to kind of think about it differently, think about how you're going to do it, how you can get there. So it's a very interesting game. So like I say, there's a good cast of characters. The art design of the game, characters, everything's very good. The sounds are spot on. It's just really good. And then you will meet the characters, obviously, in alternate playthroughs or timelines. If you want to do that, you might see them doing a different job, might see them driving a different vehicle. There'll be different puzzles to solve each time. There'll be different decisions to make. Sometimes you will not be able to do something in one playthrough, and then in the next playthrough you'll be able to collect an item that will allow you to do that later on. So for example, one I wasn't able to do was on my first playthrough. I think it was a key to get into a car, and I didn't have a key, but on a later playthrough I obtained a car key, so now I'll be able to get into that car. So I've really been enjoying that. I've made it to the border after 3 or 4 playthroughs. I'm still not quite at the border. I'm like 10 miles from it, so I need to finish that, and hopefully I can actually get where I'm going. Right, I'm just going to run through what's coming out this month. Obviously I don't have everything. Right, so we've got another Warhammer game coming out on the 3rd, Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide. Now this one is, well, it's another Warhammer game, and at this point there's about 50 million of them. Warhammer is a huge thing, as you know. They've got shops, they've got comics, they've got characters you can paint, everything. This one is a little bit like Space Marines, and it's a kind of not quite a hack and slash, but an enemy killer kind of game. This one is, you know, it's similar kind of thing. You've got different player classes, you can use different enemies, you meet different characters, there's different maps and so on. This one's a little bit darker and grittier than Space Marines. Space Marines is mostly outdoors or in bright settings. This one's a lot darker. It's a lot more not in dungeons, but in darker buildings, low-level buildings. There is some mechanics and levelling up things, but it's generally a similar type of game. I think we're at that point now where Warhammer has so many games out there that it's almost impossible to make them all different. Which is, a common problem when you have a big franchise. I think Call of Duty have that issue now as well, because they've made so many games. It's about how they change the settings, change the weapon, things like that. EA Sports FC as well, obviously, because it's just, there's only so much you can do to change these games year on, year in, year out. Because it's the same game, so like I say, it's the way they change aesthetics of skins, weapons, noises, things like that. And even to that end, there's only so much you can change, so it's, they're a little limited what they can do. Anyway, so like I say, Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, the latest game in the Warhammer franchise, that one's out on the 3rd of December. Right, this next one, Nick pointed out to me earlier on, and it's called Fantasian Neo Dimension. Now this one is essentially a JRPG game, although it's very 3D. It looks like a sort of futuristic thing. It's done by the same man who created the Final Fantasy series, so that's interesting. JRPG games, of course, are popular with, well, just about everyone, really. And that's sort of top-down adventuring style, and then that turn-based combat as well, which is just, a lot of fun. It's all the sprites are in 3D, so the environments are handcrafted 3D buildings and the 3D characters. It's just, it looks very good, it plays very well, it sounds great. The combat looks interesting because it's turn-based, like I say, but there's certain upgrades, shall we say, where you can hit several enemies at once, you can use different attacks, you can switch enemies. There's a system where you can send enemies to an alternate dimension and fight them later on, which is useful for, coming back later when you're stronger, come back when you've got more strength or health or whatever. And then there's obviously the boss battles. Some of the boss designs are very cool. I'm looking at one here which is like a tree from Lord of the Rings, and it's got orange leaves. And obviously because it's turn-based, it doesn't just kind of smother at you and take over, so it's just, I like stuff like that, so we'll see how that goes. So like I say, Fantasia New Dimension, that one's out on the 5th, and that is something I might actually check out because it looks quite cool. Right, next one I thought John might like, but he's not here. And this one is Marvel Rivals. Now this one is a third-person hero shooter. We're seeing quite a lot of these now. This is the latest one. It's obviously a Marvel game, so it's about kind of playing as a Marvel superhero. It's similar, I guess, to Overwatch. It's actually going to be free to play, so the same sort of idea was that. And there'll be a little bit of money for probably skins and upgrades and things like that. But in terms of the way it looks, I mean, the game looks great, the character design's good. I'm not a big Marvel fan, so I can't see how true to life they look. The fact that Marvel is basically all fiction at this point, the characters are all fiction, they're not real, means that they don't have to look 100% accurate, because at the end of the day it's just, a depiction, which is similar to a lot of games being made, books being made into games, films being made into games, stuff like that. So, listen, like I say, this one, third person hero shooter. Character design, obviously 3D sprite, looks pretty sharp on my monitor. I'm not sure how good it'll look to everyone else. It's not just a constant shooter though, it's got a kind of third person action adventures feel to it as well. You can walk around and it's got actual buildings, built up areas, you can walk through museums and things. And there is, set battles and things at its times and stuff like that, but the fact that you can walk about and look at the place and it's not just constant fighting is, I like that. There's a bit more to the game than just killing all the time. Marvel Rivals, that was out on the 6th of December. Final one then I want to mention, at least from Exhibit A, is the Indiana Jones The Great Circle. Now this one is a highly anticipated game.
Something I've actually been quietly looking forward to.
Set around Indiana Jones, obviously. This one was announced by Bethesda a few years ago, but it's actually being done by Machine Games and then published by Bethesda, so it's not being made by Bethesda themselves, but it is an Xbox game, so it will be on Game Pass, it will be exclusive to Xbox and PC, yada yada yada. I will be trying it. I won't be buying it at release, but I will be trying it out. It'll be on Game Pass. It looks very good. I just watched the trailer just before I came on there. The game is mostly an ARPG. It's set between two films. It's an original story set between two films, so it's primarily based between Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Lost Crusade. So it's between, so Lost Ark was 1981 and Lost Crusade was 1989. So it's set in the 80s, basically, is what they're saying. The story, obviously, you follow Indiana Jones. It's an original story. It's not based on a film, but it does take inspiration from Indy. So obviously you've got Indy the character, and then he's got his weapon, his gun, and his compass, and so on. This one is mostly played from a first-person perspective, which I found interesting because I thought, exploration game, generally it's more interesting. You can see more if you play from the third person over the shoulder view. Machine games have come with a first person view, which, kind of narrows down your field of view a bit, I think. I don't know, I could be wrong. The game is a lot of puzzle solving and a lot of, not action, but it's
traditional Indiana Jones. Puzzle solving, clue collecting, activating trapdoors, and there's a bit of stealth in there as well.
But yeah, I just think it looks really interesting, so I'll be testing it out. Like I say, it's exclusive to PC and Xbox. Comes out on the 9th of December for those. But there is going to be a PlayStation version coming out early next year, so it's not going to be exclusive for very long. So yeah, like I say, that was out on the 9th, and that'll be a Game Pass Day one, so I'll be trying it out at some point. Right, on to Exhibit B, just a couple of other games coming out this month. So the Mildew Children comes out on the 1st. This was already out on PC, but it's coming out on the console. It's PlayStation and Switch, I think, or is it PlayStation, one of the two. Anyway, it comes on PlayStation on the 1st of December. Mildew Children is a sort of a dark 2D adventure / visual novel. So it's centred around sort of witchcraft. It's just a very grim tale about some children who live alone in a village, and then there's lots of witchcraft and rituals and dark stuff going on. It's played in a sort of side-on 2D perspective, which I kind of like the look of. It looks a little bit like the Wild Irons Horde. Obviously it's a different type of game, but which I quite like, but it's not the sort of game I'll be playing, I would imagine, but it looks cool. If Nick plays it, I'll watch him play it, but apart from that, I'm not too fussed. But yeah, anyway, that one comes out on the 1st. Next one is another one for the PlayStation. This one's called Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Now this one is very similar, if you watch me play, to that Blue Prince. I played Blue Prince back in the summer. I played the demo. That was a puzzle game where you basically wandered around your uncle's mansion This is very similar to that. You play in a sort of black and white mansion, black and white game I should say. You go round the mansion trying to find clues and solve puzzles and so on. It's from a slightly different perspective. You do play as a woman. The character design is like something from, I mean, to me it looks like 101 Dalmatians, but I'm sure it's not. It's just a very cool game. It's the kind of old Baroque style, which is a very interesting style as well. It came out on PC in May. It's coming to PlayStation now. So that one looks interesting. So, like I say, that one is due out on PlayStation on the 3rd. Right, another one I just want to mention quickly. This is Atom Blast. Now, we talked about this one a few months ago. It was pushed back. It's coming out now. This one is an extremely fast-paced and explosive platforming style game. It's just like an action platformer. It does look like a lot of fun, but it is very fast-paced, probably too fast for me. So he basically plays a guy called Dynamite Anton, so that's where the Anton bit comes from. And he comes with a hammer and basically got to bash your way through the game at extreme speeds. So it looks fun, it sounds fun, the art, the character creation, the maps, everything look like something you might find in the Beano or something like that. It's super colourful, super bright, like I say, very fast paced as well. So it looks like a really fun game, but too quick for me. But yeah, if you want to check that one out, that one's out on the 3rd of December. Right, next one is one I thought that Andy might like. This one's called Go Home Annie. This one is a weird psychological thriller game where basically you're employed by a company called SCP, and basically your job at this SCP place is to explore artificially created paranormal events, solve puzzles, interact with anomalies and all that stuff. So obviously you do that. Those are very dark, inside the anomalies, inside the paranormal events and so on. Very strange, very dark. So that's your job. So the game seems perfectly normal until you go inside those events or inside those anomalies. I thought Andy might like this, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird way of doing, a thriller, a horror thriller game. Because you're not thrown in right at the start. You're like, here's a normal game, and then we'll put you into a horror game when we feel like it. It sounds a bit weird to me. Anyway, that's what that is. So that's Google Andy. That one's out on the 3rd as well. Right, another one I quite like the look of now. I've seen it. It's called the Thaumaturge. I think I'll say pronounce that. So the Thaumaturge is an isometric style RPG game. It's played from a sort of top-down perspective, top-down turn-based combat. It looks a little bit like Disco Elysium in a way, in the art style. And then also the fact that you've got to basically solve puzzles and uncover people's motives and things like that. It's a lot grittier than something like that. It's not dark, just the colours, and there's places that are lit and things, the shadows, and it's just darker in those. But it does look cool. So that one's coming out on the PlayStation as well, and that one's out on the 4th. Right, next one looks like fun. This one's called Slope Crashers. Now, Slope Crashers is like a sort of snowboarding arcade game, basically from yesterday. So if you remember snowboarding games from days gone by, it's kind of like one of them. So it kind of reminds me of games like SSX and all that stuff. And you've got your score boosters, and you've got railings you can hit, and there's physics boosts and stunts and everything. So it kind of looks like one of them. It looks like something that's, to me, it's not focused on graphics and music and reality and all that. It's just something that's fun, which is what you want. There is a demo available as well if you want to try that out ahead of release. That one's out on the 4th of December. Right, next one is called Heaven Seeker, the Saviour of this Cruel World. And this is another one that's coming to the PlayStation as well. It's already out on the PC. This one is one of those sort of arcade-style twin-stick shooters set across a variety of maps. Each time you play, there's different structures, different maps, different enemies, different characters, different weapons. It just looks like a fun little game. Like I say, it's already on PC. It came to PC in June. It's coming to PlayStation now. Or should I say it's coming to the PlayStation now. But yeah, like I say, it just looks like a fun little game. It's kind of a top-down style. You do have a character to play as when you're not in combat. It's kind of a pixel art style. The art's obviously very well done in the environments and then also in the weapons and bullets and things. It's reasonably fast-paced, but it's not like ridiculous. So yeah, that one comes to the PlayStation on the 5th of December. Next up, we've got two games that are the same essentially. These are both the free-to-play shooter genre. One's called Delta Force and one is called Shadowrun, and these are both free-to-play first-person shooter games. Now, they both look pretty good. Delta Force looks fun, I must say. The free-to-play shooter genre is something which, well, I'm not a fan of shooters really, as you know, but the free-to-play thing is like, it's interesting from a business point of view, looking at it, because obviously free-to-play means more people will play it or will have a chance to play it, and then obviously they'll probably make money from selling skins or subscriptions or weapons or whatever. Which is not a bad thing because you don't need to buy them, so you can just keep playing a free game forever. I mean, that's kind of what's at the centre of all these game development decisions, releases, decisions, and money. You know, how much does it cost to make, how much does it cost to release, to produce, how much we're going to make back, how much we're going to charge. It's all about money nowadays, as we know. A lot of games cost more to make now. A lot of games struggle to make that money back. So yeah, I always find free-to-play games interesting because I look at them. You know, something like Apex Legends was the same. We saw Concord fall quite hard. You know, so when a new one comes along, I kind of look at it and I think, you know, where have they cut the corners on this one? You know, because if it's going to be free, the chances are it's not all a AAA game. They won't release a AAA game for free. So essentially, it's like, where have they cut the corner? What have they missed out? What have they not done? So it'll be interesting. But like I say, they look fun. They look good. They look graphically, especially Delta Force, it looks quite, you know, modern, quite slick, quite smooth, quite sharp. So I'm eager to watch people play it. They do have the multiplayer, of course, as well, which makes them more fun, which is, I guess, what they're all about as well. You know, there's no point playing a free-to-play shooter solo, because usually it's because they don't have a story mode. That's why they're free. So they do have the co-op, which is the bulk of the gameplay. They do release on the 5th. Both these games release on the 5th. I'll be interested to see, you know, who plays them, how many people play them, how they get on, things like that. We saw Concord obviously fail within a week or so, and they took it offline because nobody was playing it and didn't make any money back. So we'll have to wait and see on those two. But yeah, Delta Force, Shadowrun, both out on the 5th, both free to play. Right, next one is releasing into early access. This is Path of Exile 2. Now this one, interestingly, is also going to be free to play, but it's not a shooter game. It's a sort of top-down game, similar to the first one, a top-down RPG. It's a little bit like the World of Warcraft, or at least the early World of Warcraft games I played. It looks a little bit similar to those, the world's a bit darker than I guess I'm used to. But I never played the first one. So yeah, like I say, it's a little bit darker, a little bit grittier. But that's, that's fine. It contributes to the surroundings, the feelings of the overall game, so I'm not complaining. And then there's some cool biomes. I'm looking at a jungle here, or a forest, one of the two. And just, it looks very cool the way the light shines on it, the way your character casts a shadow through it. It's very cool. Obviously, there are animals in the forest as well. Combat, turn-based combat. Like I say, it's going to be free to play as well, so there's no reason for you not to play it. It is going to have co-op up to 6 players as well, so that'll be fun. So yeah, like I say, it's going to be early access, but then it is free to play, so it's like, why would you not play it? No excuse, really. So that one's due in early access on the 6th of December.
And I will be trying that one out.
Right, next one is called Shadow Tactics Aiko's Choice. I think I pronounced that right, Aiko's Choice. Now this one is interesting. This is basically the Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. So essentially what it is a DLC for that game, but it's like a standalone DLC. So you can buy this separate to the actual game. And it was released in PC back in 2021, I think, something like that. So 3-4 years ago. And it's been released on console just this month. It's coming to console on the 6th of December, so they have to wait a while, but it is coming. Shadow Tactics, I mean, obviously Blades of the Shogun I like. It's that top-down RPG style game. The DLC, this one is similar, so I quite like it, but I haven't spent a lot of time looking at it, so I can't say, but I own Blades of the Shogun. I quite like it. I've never felt the need to look at the DLC, which is why I'm not familiar with it, but I may now that I know it's complete and available on console, and it's been updated to as good as it can be and all that stuff, so I might check it out. But yeah, like I say, Shadow Tactics Aiko's Choice comes to console on the 6th of December. Right, another one that people are looking forward to is the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered. Now, I never played the original ones, partly because I was too young. But this one, I mean, the games look very cool. You get both games in the package, obviously, you get both of them remastered, but I think I'm correct to say you also get both of them in their original graphical style as well. Which it's nice that they took 2 original games and basically ensured they'd run on the newer systems. And then I've also upgraded them graphically for people who want that as well, so that's good. The game itself, I mean, we know what they are. They're basically a sort of action-adventure ARPG type game. It's kind of dark and gritty in areas, not the whole thing. It does have the, obviously there's the map and the castle, but it's the magic. It reminds me a little bit of elements of Prince of Persia and the Sands of Time, because it has elements of kind of parkour in it and combat and things, and obviously that as well. Interestingly, the remastered version is brighter than the original, so basically cranked the brightness up, or that's what it looks like, which is good. They've also made the enemies brighter and easier to hit, easier to identify, which is good. So, and then that works well for people like me that can't see a bloody thing. Anyway, so that one's out on the 10th. Right, another one that kind of piqued my interest. This one's called Astrometica. Now, this one is kind of it's a space-based kind of exploration, base building, survival thing. It's like a mashup of kind of No Man's Sky, Fallout, Starfield, Skyrim, all that stuff kind of put together. Basically, you're on your own. There's no other people in space with you. You're basically on your own in the elements, which that's what the Invincible is, and that's what I like so much about it. It's just kind of you and the great outdoors, you know what I mean? And this is kind of a similar idea to that. So I'm looking forward to that. So this one's out on the 10th. It's in early access as well, so I'm not expecting a full game, but there is a demo, so I'll be trying the demo as well before it releases, just to see what it is. Last one's interesting as well. This one's called Spirit of the Samurai. The Spirit of the Samurai. And this one is a sort of 2D side-scrolling samurai game. It plays a little bit like the Trek to Yomi game I played, if you watch that on YouTube, except it's not in black and white. It's similar to that, obviously. There's a lot of martial arts. The big difference here is you're not fighting soldiers, you're fighting undead warriors and other monsters. The art style is obviously more detailed than Trek to Yomi because it's not in black and white, it's in colour. It is still quite dark and gritty, but the way they've stylised it to give you a feeling of, I guess, a fighting damage valley is like something I find very impressive. I like it a lot. The sound design is very good. The music, it's very good. It's got a cat in it. It's got boss battles. Obviously, it's got a bit of everything really. So the Spirit of the Samurai, I might check that out. That one's got a demo available as well. That was out on the 12th of December. Right, we'll do a quick indie spotlight, I think, before we call it a day. Like I said at the top, a bunch of indie games I've been enjoying. Obviously, The Invincible, based on the book. And then there's Road 96, which Buster challenge. It's a fun little game. Crypt Custodian, Metal Slug Tactics, Dungeons of Hinterberg I'm playing as well. They're just all very good. And there's a lot of other ones released this year. A few more for December I've got. First one up, Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop. Now this one's done by Beard Envy. This one is, it's a similar idea to what was the one we did last month, Trash Goblin, which Trash Goblin was a repair shop. Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop is sort of spaceship repair. It's basically like a business simulation. Your rocket or spaceship repair shop. Basically, you have to repair damaged shuttles, damaged spaceships. It does also play like a sort of 2D ARPG game at times. Sometimes you need to go out to salvage parts or talk to people and so on. So it plays like that. It's just a very good little game. It looks like a lot of fun. It's out on the 5th December if you want to play that. It just looks like a lot of fun. And I like these style of games. Like I say, it kind of becomes like a business simulation. Obviously, you utilise puzzles to repair the ships, and then obviously select the right parts and so on. And then occasionally you need to leave your shop, and at which point it plays like a sort of 2D action adventure or RPG game. When you need to go out and find the right parts, talk to people and so on. So yeah, like I say, that one's out on the 5th. Next one I've played before. This one's called Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island. Now this one is essentially a 3D RPG or ARPG. I'm not sure you'd describe it. So basically, you are it's a female protagonist, and basically your boat's crashed on this mysterious island, and you basically get off your boat and start wandering around looking for help. And it turns out there's actually people on this island, and all these people are connected to Greek gods. So you kind of solve puzzles for the gods, help the gods, talk to the gods, and then later on in the game you actually discover there's other people that have been stranded on this island as well. And then you're supposed to work with them to find a way off the island. I played this. I wasn't keen on, two things. First of all, the art style, which looks a bit like something you'd find out of a cartoon. Now usually that's a good thing, but in this one it's obviously that's a 3D, it's a fully built 3D game, but the sprites and the characters look a bit like they're sort of flat cardboard cutouts moving around, which I don't know, it just didn't look right to me. And then the other thing was it's quite slow in that you obviously need to solve puzzles from time to time for the gods, but a lot of the time there's no hints, nobody tells you what you're doing, nobody tells you what you're trying to solve, so Maybe it was just me, but I spent a lot of time wandering about, looking at things that would move, looking for things that had carvings in them, that had clues, which is fine, but sometimes I just want to get on with it, you know. Yeah, I don't know, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Like I said, I played the demo back in the summer. I'll put it in the indie showcase or in the Next Fest, whatever it was called, podcast I did as well. So it's up there if you want to watch it. Like I said, it's out on the 5th. So that's done by Polygon Treehouse, if you want to. The next one's called Thaumaturge. Now this one is a very old school looking arcade. Well, I mean arcade, so you can maybe call it. Basically it's a split screen local split screen game where you select a tank which is about the size of your thumb. You can't really see it, and you basically have to destroy your enemies or who you're playing with in order to win. Basically it's last man standing. And obviously a lot of the focus around this is going to be co-op, especially the fact that it's a local co-op system. It will have online co-op, but it's also got local co-op, so I'm not sure if that's mouse and keyboard or controllers or something else. We'll have to wait and see. Like I say, it's going to be based around multiplayer. The combat looks surprisingly smooth. All the bullets and blowing up and drones, and you can call air support and everything. So it looks very quick, very fleshed out, very well done. And there's a demo available if you want to play it. It's done by Thumcramp. This one, Thumtank's done by Thumcramp. So that's interesting. And this one's out on the 5th. It's played from a top-down perspective, so you're kind of looking straight down at the map, which is, it's fine. You can't really see the tanks because they're so small. It's basically about the size of your thumb, if not smaller. So you can't really complain about something going wrong. So like I say, that one's done by Thumcramp, and that's out on the 5th. Right, next one is called Cave Hikers. Now, I read about this one earlier, and it's a bit of a misleading title, if I'm honest. So basically, Cave Hikers is a sort of interactive kind of cartoon mockumentary thing, if you like. And basically, what you're doing, the aim of the game is you're searching for a cave by going through caves. So it's a bit of a strange game. It looks like the art style of the characters almost look like something that's been maybe painted by hand or drawn or something. So like I say, most of the game is spent exploring caves, and obviously all that is exploration, and then also things like puzzle solving and so on. And then the fact that you're looking for a cave at the end of the game is a bit of, it's a bit of a misleading title perhaps. So that one's done by Studio Spectre in collaboration with Porcupine Parkour as well. And that one's out on the 6th of December. Right, another one that I played, this one's called Heat Death Survival Train. Now this one I quite like. I played the demo for this back in the summer. Now this one plays like a sort of first person sci-fi survival game. And now when you start the game, you're sort of thrown into this frozen wasteland. Well, it's not really a wasteland, but it's frozen, And it looks like it's an abandoned research facility, and there was no hints, no instructions, no people, nothing. It's an empty world, so I wasn't sure what the goal was at the time. The game I just thought was, it's just showcasing how good graphics can be, how realistic they can look, and all those things. But what you actually do is just because it's a survival game, what you basically do is you have to build your own train. So imagine you've got to live on that train once you've built it, and you've also got to make it a weapon system, because later on in the game you will get attacked by drones and storms and so on, so you need to kind of use your train as a survival / living device to travel around, and then you find some sort of hidden mysteries in the world as well, as to what happened, what you're doing there. things. So it's quite an interesting game, definitely something I will check out more. The demo is still available, although it's not the same demo I played, so I'll try that as well. The game releases on the 12th. It's in early access. This one's done by Mass Games. It's quite an interesting looking game. So Mass Games, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one, so that was out on the 12th. Last one I wanted to mention, and this is probably my favourite, even though it's a bit scary. This was called The Cabin Factory. And it looks a little bit hilarious at the same time for me. Basically, you are employed at a factory that makes cabins, and you've got to inspect each cabin on the assembly line and basically work out whether it's haunted or not. And if it is, you come out and press the buzzer. If it is, then it needs to be removed from the assembly line. And there's all sorts of things that could happen inside the cabin. Maybe the lights don't work and there's some kind of creature, maybe there's ghosts, maybe there's strange noises that trap you in the cabin, there could be spirits, anything like that. So it's not the scary game where something will jump out and kill you, but it is still, it's got a bit of a suspense thriller, if you like. And you walk into a cabin, you're like, what could go wrong here? What am I looking? So that one, this is just, like I say, one I want to check out because it's just such a cool idea, I think. To have cabins come along a factory and then make it into a game. And then to make a horror game without it being scary, if that makes sense as well. I think it's quite a cool thing, so I'll definitely be checking that one out. That one comes on the 13th of December, and that was done by International Cat Studios. Right, that's all I've got for this month. It's been a little bit quieter than I'd like. We will be back later this month to do an awards special. Hopefully we'll have a full strength team for that one. Thank you for listening to this one. If you have been, I know it's been a bit shorter than usual, but hey, that's all I've got, and I'm on my own, so I'm doing my best. Please check out the rest of the podcast stuff if you haven't already. You've got the podcast here on Spotify and everywhere else. You've also got the Twitch channels, the X channels, and the YouTube as well. Check all the playlists out there. This one is being recorded on Friday the 29th of December. Bust has uploaded a challenge. He uploaded one last night. That was After Us, which is on the PlayStation Plus catalogue. You can watch that on his YouTube playlist. You can also suggest more games for him by coming up with a suggestion in the PlayStation Plus catalogue and then emailing over to GamerTalkz@gmail.com. So please do that. Give me something to play over the festive period. Like I say, we'll all be back in a few weeks. Hopefully we'll have a full strength team for the award special. Thank you for listening to this one, and I'll speak to you soon. See you later.